What is up, everybody? My name is Jason De Los Santos with Spectrum Labs in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is Hemp in the News. As a hemp extraction company, we try to be attuned to what's happening in hemp, CBD, and in the cannabis industry as a whole. So this is basically a short segment about what we're seeing in the news, and we just want to share it with you and share our thoughts and hope that you benefit from it. So here we go. Before we start for our second episode, we're going to take things down a little bit, and we're going to actually be a little bit more relaxed. We're going to sit down for this one. So let's see. Let's try something else. How about this? Okay, I think it's a little better. All right, here we go. And so for our first story, you think that you've seen CBD in pretty much everything from gummies to hair products, facial products, lotions, gel caps. I've seen inhalers in water, chocolates, but I've just realized that we haven't seen it all yet because just recently I heard about a company called Akabeta, I believe it is Akabeta, I think it's how you say it, and they are selling garments for women that are infused with CBD in them. According to the company, each wear will provide the equivalent of about 25 milligrams of CBD, and it can last up to around 40 uses. So now that sounds all good, but the price point of these is pretty interesting. It seems like they're targeting the luxury market, which is great, but they have some, I think, bras around $120. They have certain pants at $180, and a certain type of jacket that is around $250. So would you buy a CBD infused jacket? So I don't know, I probably wouldn't, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that might. So if you would, just leave a comment down below and let us know. And next, from Politico, the Safe Banking Act is reported to be on the House this week to be voted upon. And it seems like cannabis is making a lot of history in our country right now. And with this bill, it looks like this will be the first ever standalone bill that will be introduced in the House floor. So cannabis is making waves everywhere, including in our government. So we'll see by the time this video is released whether companies like ours, companies in the cannabis industry, will have better banking access for loans, for just bank accounts. We hear horror stories about people that have been banking with a certain company and all of a sudden they are dropped because that bank is no longer comfortable with dealing with a cannabis company. So I think even one of the biggest things will be also just feeling, as a cannabis company, feeling like we're part of the business community. Sometimes we hear that, oh, you're in the cannabis industry, like, you know, isn't that kind of weird? And it's almost like we're sort of shunned from being a legit business. So hopefully this safe banking bill will go through and we'll have some better financial services available to us and just the general cannabis industry as a whole. And next, vaping. So in the United States, we have had roughly 400 cases of lung disease due to vaping, and it looks like Canada has just released a report of their first vaping case. It looks like this happened back in March of this year, and in typical Canadian fashion, they're being mum about which company this person was using or which ingredients they think might have been the cause. So I think that's a good thing, just to be conservative. We're just all hoping that someone can give us an idea about what is causing all these issues. A lot of theories going around, whether it's specific ingredients inside of the vape cartridges, whether it's flavorings, whether it's because a lot of these cases have been reported to have been purchased on the black market. So we really don't know, and I think it's questions that almost the whole country is waiting for. And a lot of the US organizations are asking people to stop vaping, and it seems like it's working. A lot of vape sales in certain states are going down, and a lot of smokable flower sales are rapidly increasing due to this. So we'll keep an eye on it, and let's see what happens. Hopefully we get an answer pretty soon about what is causing all these lung diseases. Let's talk about sleep for a second. The sleep mattress company Casper is now getting into the CBD business, and it might seem strange that a company selling mattresses is getting into CBD, but they're actually selling CBD gummies for sleep. They've partnered up with a company Plus Products, and they're selling little tin cans of CBD gummies that are supposed to help with sleep. It might seem kind of strange, but it really makes a lot of sense. Apparently, Casper wants to be the next Nike of sleep, and they have had several products that are moving beyond the mattress. So they want to be able to help people with anything related to sleep, whether it's a mattress, whether it's lights that help bring in sun, or lights to use at the end of the day that inhibit blue light. And then gummies, if it can help you sleep, then that might just be a natural fit for that company. The sleep industry in the United States alone is roughly a $1 trillion industry. I think if anyone can help people get a good night's rest, then I think they will be rewarded handsomely by the consumer. All right, next, flavors. There's a company called Mintel. It's a market intelligence company, and they did a giant study, and they have provided the 5 flavors that they believe is going to be a big hit in the next 12 months. And some really interesting flavors, so tell me what you think. They believe that the consumer trends that will impact food and drink over the next few months will be botanicals and adaptogens like hibiscus, which is a really nice sort of earthy, flowery scent or taste. They believe that Japanese influence flavors like ramen, which pretty much every college student knows about. I certainly had my share of that. Will be a big flavor trend in the next year. Fermented fare like pickled kimchi and fermented foods. Authentic Indian like masala, which sounds delicious. And Eastern Mediterranean like cardamom and tahini. So I think a lot of folks, when they look at CBD products to ingest, you see a lot of the same typical flavors. So in the next 12 months, will we see something like a masala flavored, gummy or a treat? Or will we see a type of kimchi or pickled CBD product, which I will never touch in a million years, but maybe that's your preference. So we'll take a look at this and see who decides to venture outside of the typical flavorings and go to ramen CBD noodles maybe. So it looks like the United States will be investing $3 million not to study the effects of THC, but CBD and how it relieves pain. And what these researchers are trying to do is to figure out exactly which parts of the plant can help with this pain relief, which I think is a great study. A lot of folks anecdotally state how CBD can help, and we certainly have seen it, but it'll be really helpful for just the industry as a whole to be able to understand that these certain components were determined in a research trial that actually help people. So it looks like the researchers are going to split the study participants, and they're going to give everyone a chocolate pudding, and half of the people will receive just chocolate pudding and half will receive chocolate pudding with CBD infused in it. So I don't know about you, but I mean, my pain substantially decreases with eating any type of chocolate, not to mention adding a little bit of CBD in it. I mean, that's a pretty nice combination. So I think I might just call them up and see if I can participate in that study. Violence and marijuana. You know, before I got into this industry, my notion of someone that used marijuana was somebody that was basically hanging out on the couch, eating Cheetos or Doritos or something like that, and just being really chill and watching a few Netflix shows. But more and more, it seems like there are a few folks that are concerned about marijuana and violence. And just recently, Tucker Carlson from Fox News has sort of started some waves. He was speaking with a New York Times author, Alex Berenson. He has a new book called Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence, where, as you can tell from the title of the book, makes a direct connection between marijuana, mental illness, and violence. And his theory is that marijuana use leads to psychosis, and then that psychosis can lead to violence. But there are a lot of folks on the other side. For example, Katherine Newman from the University of Massachusetts. She has done a lot of research into school shootings, and she believes that there's absolutely no correlation between marijuana usage and violence. And she states that there's not even any. She states that there is absolutely no research or no correlation between the two. So this is an important topic to watch out for as people are looking into this sort of experiment of cannabis legalization and wide use of cannabis. in all its forms. So I think if there is any direct correlation between cannabis and violence, that people will be very wary to allow it to come into their communities. So if you know of any studies for or against this notion that ties marijuana to violence, I'd love to hear about it from you. So please share it in the comments. And next, are you watching what you're eating? And no, don't worry, I'm not here to judge what you're eating, but there's a new study out that claims that foods ingested with CBD can have an impact on the absorption rate, or basically how much of that CBD is absorbed and used throughout your body. Highlights are that consuming high fatty foods with CBD improves absorption rate by some pretty startling numbers. So it looks like they found that folks that consumed CBD with fatty foods compared to CBD just with fasting, they found CBD in the body twice as much when eaten with fatty foods as compared to fasting. And in the blood, they found CBD stores 14 times higher than the fasting group. Now, with that, there were no cognitive differences between either group, which seems to be consistent with other previous studies. And while it was a small study, these are stepping stones, right? So we need these small studies that other researchers can pick up on and conduct further studies. So this seems like a great thing for consumers, that if they, again, from the small study, we'll probably need some more research, that if you consume CBD with high fatty foods, it will improve your absorption by at least twice in the body. A woman in Michigan claimed that she was walking her puppy in the park and that it looks like the puppy saw something in the ground, ate it. She couldn't really tell what it was until they got home, and then I'll show the video here. The puppy was seen dazed and confused, was soiling himself or maybe herself. It was not feeling great. They ended up having to take the puppy to the vet's office. Later, the woman went back to the park and found some cookies that were apparently marijuana cookies, and someone left them out. I'm sure not on purpose. Somebody probably just dropped them on the ground, and unfortunately, this puppy ate them and didn't have a great evening. But it looks like the dog is recovering and doing much better nowadays. So just be a smart consumer. So that is it from us at Spectrum Labs, Hemp in the News. Let us know in the comments if we missed some really important topics. If you liked what we had to say today, please make sure to hit the bell down below and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.